the best analyst out there, period, anywhere. Dan Orlovsky joins us on the Armani and Edwards program. Dan, thanks for the time.
Thank you. Good to be with you guys. I love how Braylon says class of '05, and he was like the 5th pick of the draft, and I was 145th.
Well,
it's definitely the class of '05. It's just a different time frame in that class.
Well, hey, don't cut yourself short. What you did up there at UConn, you were that transition period and really got UConn looked at and going from 1AA to Division I. So you were that transition piece that people looked at and said, you know what, that team in Stores, they can play some football. Let's go ahead and put them in the D1. So don't short yourself.
I appreciate it. It's good to be with you guys.
Man, good to hear you.
Hey, Dan, let me just ask you, what in the world's happening in Chicago right now?
Yeah, I think that the way that Matt Nagy has handled this, he kind of handled it in the vision of, well, this was an ideal situation, both coaching and player, that he wasn't on somewhat of a hot seat and expected to win, and that he didn't get the second-time young quarterback that they could go and draft and develop, and that he had just a wealth of time moving forward. That's not what the situation is. Or that he had this veteran quarterback that was going to just have to kind of be the bridge, so to speak, that they had this really good roster of offensive talent and a good offensive line and great skill position guys where the veteran quarterback could just kind of be okay. The supporting cast would carry this football team, and that young quarterback could just sit there and really kind of soak it all in until he was completely capable of handling all the offense. That's the ideal situation. That's just not Chicago. And I think the reality was Matt Nagy, for some reason, convinced himself of the alternative universe, so to speak, the alternative reality. And the thing is, he needs to show, one, I can develop this young quarterback. I did not, nor could not do it with Mitchell Trubisky. And then two, I need to win football games. Like, they got to win. He's got to do both. And I just... it's been very odd. I think the commitment was made to Andy Dalton early on that he would be their guy. And listen, I love that they're moving forward with Justin. The one caveat I will say about it is he is now hundreds of reps behind everybody else. He didn't get any starter reps in training camp. He should have started the first 2 games. So we're all going to look like it is, well, Justin Fields, week 5 starter. Nah, man. He's kind of still in his 2nd or 3rd preseason game, so to speak. And so that's what happens when you become so hard-headed to a situation.
Yeah, you're 1,000% correct, and I agree with you. I look at a situation like Mitchell Trubisky. One thing I always say, Dan, is in order to win in NFL, you got to win in college. Mitchell Trubisky didn't win in college. Justin Fields, on the other hand, did win in college. He did win in high school. He's won at the highest level. He's almost won the complete prize at the amateur level. But let's transition. I heard you say something about veteran quarterbacks. I know we don't have you for very long, so I got to get out as much as I can. What do you think about the situation with Big Ben in Pittsburgh? Are we making too much of him being old and being hurt, or is it about that time for him?
No, it's that time. But no one should be surprised that we're having this conversation. We try to tell everybody about this last year, and then we try to tell everybody about it this offseason. Nagy Harris is going to be a really, really, really good player. But if you were planning on playing with this offense, with these people, then you should have drafted an offensive lineman, traded back and gotten an offensive lineman or more picks to get more offensive linemen maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round. Listen, there is no fix for this offense. There is no fix, okay? They are what they are. They are 2-8. As a football team in their last 10 games, and they score 20 points a game. Braylon, you can have a bad offensive line if you got a young mobile quarterback, because he can cover up for some of that. Or you could have a great offensive line and an immobile quarterback, because they'll keep them protected. Yeah. You cannot have a bad offensive line and immobile quarterback. It don't work in football.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so the Steelers have made this situation what it is. That being said, Big Ben has too many misses in his game right now. There are too many missed throws. Now, he nor this offense is good enough to make up for some of those missed throws, and that's the difference. Listen, Carson Wentz has missed throws. Josh Allen has missed throws. Shoot, Patrick's got missed throws. But they're explosive enough or good enough to make up for it. Pittsburgh is not. I get it. He's a Hall of Famer. Guess what? If you bench him, he's going to be a Hall of Famer in January. That's not going to change.
Yeah.
And what the risk for Mike Tomlin and this organization is if you mean to tell me that the quarterback that is playing the worst in the NFL, whether he's protected or not, that Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph aren't better options, then why the heck are they on the roster?
That's a great question, Dan. And speaking of why the heck are they still on the roster?
Why are they?
I'm going to be bouncing around on you here. Why is Urban Meyer still the coach? How is Urban Meyer still the coach in Jacksonville right now?
Yeah, y'all know where I stand on this.
Yeah, and Braylon said the same thing yesterday, Dan.
Yeah, man, like, miss me on the whole, I'm paying this guy to coach. But you're not. There's 32 freaking jobs in the world like this. 32. All right? There's 32. If you are not going to take it as seriously as you expect the players in the locker room to take it, then you got to go. You're an 0-4 football team, and as a coach, you're telling me culture, we're changing. And, you stayed. You didn't fly home with the team that just lost in heartbreaking fashion, mind you. That's given everything they got. I don't got any time for you. Has he lost the locker room? We're past that. I think he's lost the coaching staff as well. I wouldn't want to coach with him. What you mean? I got to fly home with the team, and I got to come into work on Friday, Saturday, Sunday because I got to figure out how to get our offense or our defense to play better, and you're home? Miss me on that. Now, why is he still the coach? My guess, honestly, is that they don't – the money aspect, that they don't want to be paying all of that money to a coach that they're firing. Other than that, I can't figure out the justifiable reason to think that he's all of a sudden going to win the trust back. How?
That's impossible.
By not going, you know what I'm saying? I don't think how. Once, Brendan, you know this. Once trust in a locker room,
it's over.
Or a coaching staff,
it's over.
Gone, come on, man, you ain't getting that back.
It's over. And I agree with you. What you said, 1,000%, and I was on board with that. I just added one even little nuance. I said, if you're doing this at 0-4, what are you doing at 0-8? What are you doing at 1-7?
Right.
Like, what is your way to cope, as we said? What is your way to blow off some steam when your team is 2-12? Like, what's your way then? So if this is what you're doing at 0-4, you've shown me enough. That's all I'm saying, man.
Hey, Dan, thanks for coming on with us. I got Lion stuff for you, man. We're 0-4 here. Dan Campbell's under a little bit of heat for his fourth down calls. Jared Goff's been fumbling. Everyone knows, the word on the street, Sean McVay kind of gave up on him. He wanted Matthew Stafford. He got the better part of the deal. The Lions got the great draft capital coming up. Do you think the Lions, going forward, are you happy still with Dan Campbell and, of course, Jared Goff going forward?
Well, I mean, the reality is 12 games left. I think this football team's been in 2 games that you go, man, they easily could have won. There was no expectation, at least from myself, that the Lions were going to be a 9-8 football team, so to speak. They're close. They were ultra aggressive last week against Chicago. I would always say on the road, it's not 4th and inches. On the road, opening drive, go get yourself points. I always kind of believe in that just to kind of put some pressure on the home team. Yes, I still believe in Dan because it's 4 games in. I think that Dan is trying to do things the right way. Jared Goff's a good quarterback. Is Jared Goff going to go and take over a football team that's decimated by talent deficit? So no. Jared is a quarterback that when things are good around him, he's going to play at a good level. And we've seen stretches of that. I think that, and I said this in a tweet, I think they got 3 young guys on offense, more so than is Jared Goff the answer. The fact that you got DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson, and Quintet, and Cephas, you got 3 young players that I feel like you can build around offensively. And so, the next 12 games will go a long way in figuring out, is Jared your future or not? That's a fair question. That was part of the trade. But trying to Band-Aid this situation and kind of doing it as a quick fix is unrealistic. And I hope the Lions just can continue to commit to the long game.
Hey, Dan, go back to April when they took Penei Sewell and he was on the board. And you had a guy like Micah Parsons and you had the quarterback still out there. In hindsight, what would you have done if you were the Detroit Lions?
Yeah. Seeing how good Micah is, I would probably go, man, Micah. I don't pretend to study defensive football and know the insides and outs of it. So I was just listening to people talk about Micah and the people that I value their defensive opinion. They were saying he's good. I don't think anybody expected this good though. Micah Parsons looks like, you know who he looks like? He reminds me of Patrick Willis years ago, Braylon. Remember with the 49ers?
Oh, man, I played with Willis in
just a guy
2011. Different guy, different type of animal.
Yeah, just an absolute beast. And so Penny's great, though. I mean, you look at Penny and you go, yep, we got our left tackle for a long time, and even though Decker's there, you know, Decker hopefully maybe moves to the right or something. So I love Penny, and I hate pitting players against player type of thing, but watching Micah Parsons and how he's been able to do the things that he's done, man, you know, I could sit there and go, man, Micah Parsons really would have been a big-time player for this organization.
Hey, Dan, I got to take a 30-second break. Can I keep you for a couple of minutes, or do you have to go?
I got about 5 more minutes, yeah. Absolutely, I can.
Perfect. 30-second break, 5 more minutes with Dan Orlovsky. We'll be right back. Armani and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Right back here on Woodward Sports. Ryan Armani, Braylon Edwards, Tom Mazaway.
Yes,
thanks for hopping on with us here. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN analyst, NFL analyst. Just the best going right now in our opinion and in the opinion of a lot of people. Dan, I wanted to ask you about these rebuilds. You know this place, man. You're here. You lived it. How long does this rebuild take? I mean, what okay. You know, as a Detroit Lion fan my whole life, why should I buy into these guys? Why now? What's different now?
Well, I think that you buy into Brad Holmes and just watching this year's draft. You know, I said when the draft was on the board and all those sexy receivers were on the board, I said you'll know what kind of dude you got with Brad Holmes right after he takes that first pick. The fact that the Devontae Smith was on the board and he didn't take him. You know, like, to build it kind of inside out, you have to do it the right way. Listen, when I was there in 05 to 08 and then back in 14 to 17, everybody would talk to me about 05 and 08, and they would ask me, hey, man, why are you guys so bad? And after being in the NFL for a couple years, and this is a serious conversation I have with people, you know, I started paying attention to it. And I would tell them, dude, look at our last 10 first-round picks. They all stunk outside of, like, Calvin Johnson. You know, and then I would go, look at the Steelers. Look at the Ravens. Look at New England. Look at their first-round picks. If you went over a 10-year span, 8 of them were hits. And if you went over a 10-year span with the Lions, 2 of them were hits. And I think that just looking at 4-game sample size with watching Penei Sewell go, all right, that guy can play. You know, and that makes you – I'm not trying to sell you a fake bag of goods, but no good team in the NFL has got a bad general manager. They do not exist. You know, and so you got to have a guy that is picking the right people in a servant type of mindset. You know, selecting players, which is the general manager's job, has to be with the servant mindset. Who are we trying to be? Who are our coaches trying to make us? And what players fit that mold, both on the field, schematically, personality, and character-wise. Now, that's easy words for me to fire off, but the fact that Brad Holmes vision, and that meant early on, that wasn't, and this is, I thought there was Martin Mayhew was doing that. And for some reason, that wasn't enough to keep Martin around.
Yeah, and Dan, no doubt. I mean, just look at this team's first-round picks from 2015. Since 2015, Laken Tomlinson, Jarrad Davis, Jeff Okudah, 3 first-round picks since 2015 are no longer playing for you.
Yeah, man. And then if you want to talk about, like, if a perfect example would be, talk to me about the Los Angeles Chargers and how they flipped it. So I don't want to say quickly, but I don't know, their first-round picks in the last 4 or 5 years are Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Justin Herbert, and Rashawn Slater. You know, like, that's just
Pro
the
Bowlers.
reality is that first dude. I mean, dude, and that's just the difference, man. You got it, and I feel that's the point for Lions fans. If you want something to hold on to, something to cling to for hope for the future, it looks like your general manager, at least in his first draft, got that first-round pick, got that right.
Yeah, I know you got to go. I'm gonna make this real quick. First of all, shout out to my boy Haroon. Haroon and I were sitting here talking about you a couple weeks ago. And Haroon said, "Why don't you get Dan on?" And then Dan, he started tweeting at you, and I said, "You know what? He has a point. If you want something in life, go get it." And you were so gracious with your time. So really appreciate you, and I really appreciate Haroon pushing me in that direction. These are real quick and fast. Who do you think is the best team in the league, and who's the best quarterback right now this year? Best team in the league, best quarterback right now this year.
Best team in the NFL right now, I'll say, is the Buffalo Bills. I think they're the most complete team right now. They're blocked punt away from being 4-0. Best quarterback in the NFL right now. Oh, goodness. I'll say Aaron Rodgers still, man. Wow. Aaron Rodgers has made some throws over the last 3 weeks that they just don't make sense. Now, Kyler Murray's right up there for me.
That was my guy right there. That's my guy. That's who I like right now.
Yo, the stuff, Kyler Murray, the difference between Kyler this year and last year is Kyler is seeing things happen before they happen. As a passer, I don't need to tell you guys he's incredible athlete, right? As a passer, he's seeing things before they happen. Once a quarterback starts to do that, dude, watch out.
Hey, Dan, Braylon lied. This is the last question. I'm sorry. What should the Lions do going forward with the Calvin Johnson situation? It's an embarrassment.
Yeah, it is. Calvin's probably the brightest star of the organization outside of Barry Sanders in the last 40 years. You can't put a price on that. You can't put a price on what people view you as. You can't put a price on your character, your integrity. That's not just for individuals. You can't tell people, I love the Lions. You cannot tell people that you are trying as an organization and brand to represent this and not have your actions follow. Calvin is invested and committed to that community. You should do everything in your power to make it right. Cut the check plus some. Cut the check plus some. That money should have been sitting in the bank. Well, that money should have been sitting in the bank with interest on it. Cut the check plus some, apologize publicly and to Calvin and his family and say, listen, you are an important person to our organization moving forward. We're thankful for everything that you did on the field because I was there. The only reason why people watch those games sometimes was to watch 81 go. Make it right. Make it right.
Dan, we can't thank you enough for your time, man. You are so awesome on Twitter. You're so accessible to people. Thanks for giving us some time too. And Braylon, I know everybody here has all the utmost respect for you, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Nothing but respect to you, Dan. Really appreciate you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Thank you, bud.
See you, Dan.
05. I appreciate you guys. Keep killing it. Later.
05,
all the best. All the best. Dan Orlovsky. Yeah. And look, that's Maz, I'm glad you brought that up. I had it on my sheet here, but I really was curious about his take about that. Cut the check plus some.
Plus some.
Remember I told you, hand that big check in for at least 2.5 mil, 3 mil. Hand that big check over, Miss Ford.
And a public apology is what Dan Orlovsky said. He hit the nail on the head. Right now, man, he's on fire in the last year and a half with his takes because I agree with all of them.